All right, the first thing I want to do is talk about constructing right angles and perpendiculars. Okay, if all I asked you to do was construct a right angle, okay, what could you do? What have we already talked about that allows you to construct a right angle? Which construction have we done that creates a right angle? Casey?
Bisecting a segment.
Okay, so perpendicular bisector of a segment already allows you to construct a right angle. So if all I ask you to do is construct a right angle, you're just going to construct a perpendicular bisector. Now, if I ask you to construct perpendiculars, and I'm either going to ask you to do it through a point on a line or through a point not on a line. So perpendicular through point on a line, or perpendicular through point off a line. Okay, now you've got one of two ways to construct another way to construct a right angle. Okay, each of these are based also strictly on perpendicular bisector. Okay, so your steps for these two are exactly the same. The only difference comes in what it might look like. Okay, so if we take a perpendicular through a point on a line, so let's say we take a line or line segment, and I want you to create a perpendicular through point A. Okay, in each of these cases, what you need to do is your first step is you're going to cut off segment so that the given point is on the perpendicular bisector. Okay, so here's how you do that. In order to cut off the segment so that the given point is on the perpendicular bisector, you're simply going to take your compass. You're going to place the tip of the compass on your given point, and you're going to construct an arc on each side, an arc on the segment, one on each side of the given point. Okay, so by doing this, you guarantee that point A is going to be on the perpendicular bisector of the segment cut off by these two arcs. Okay, in fact, point A is the midpoint of them, right? Since we used a compass to draw, basically it's the center of a circle passing through those. So you know it's the midpoint of this segment. So then your next step, again, for either of these constructions, after you separate or cut off the segment so that the given point is on the perpendicular bisector, is you're going to construct the perpendicular bisector of the segment that you cut off from that first step. So now, if I wanted to construct the perpendicular bisector of the segment cut off by these two arcs, what I'm simply going to do is place my compass tip on one of the endpoints. Okay, do I need to widen my compass here? What happens if I don't widen my compass? Where will those two arcs intersect? Just at point A, right? And so it doesn't give you enough information. Does one point allow you to construct a distinct line? No, you need a second point. So we need to widen our compass for this one. And then if we construct an arc from each of these endpoints using that same compass setting. Okay, so there's the steps in blue are the steps for constructing a perpendicular bisector from the segment cut off by the first step's arcs. And then we simply connect those intersections. And it should pass through that original point and be perpendicular. So we created a perpendicular that passes through the given point A. Now, is it necessary to have both intersections of arcs? Do we need to have the intersection of arcs above and below the given point? No. Why not? How many points do you need to determine a line? Two. So we have the given point, and we have one of the intersections. Okay, so all we really need to do is construct just this one set of intersecting arcs. And then we can connect that back through the original point, and we have our perpendicular. Now, what is the benefit of doing the full, both arcs, both intersections? How does that help? Or what advantage does that give you? Monica?
Gives you a more accurate.
Right, so it's kind of a check system, right? If you construct your whole set of perpendicular bisecting arcs, and then when you connect them, we saw here that when we connected these intersections, it passes through that original point. So does that confirm that you had the right perpendicular? Yeah. If you had connected these and point A is nowhere near it, then you did something wrong. You need to adjust your compass, look at what you've done. So it's just kind of a built-in check system that allows you to determine, is this a reasonable answer or not? So I'd suggest that you do it, but it's not required when you're showing construction marks. You just need the one extra set. Okay, let's see what happens, though, if we took a point that fell off of a line. And so if we took a point, and I'll call it point B here, and I want to construct a perpendicular through point B, where B does not lie on the line, we're still going to go through all the exact same steps. So step one, cut off a segment so that this given point lies on the perpendicular bisector. So to do that, place the compass tip on my given point, construct an arc that cuts off this original segment into a new segment where B is going to be that on that perpendicular bisector. Okay, so again, B is the center of a circle, and where this cuts off this chord to that circle. B will be on the perpendicular bisector of that segment cut off here. So now step two is to construct a perpendicular bisector of the segment that is cut off from step one. So now in this first example, I had to widen my compass. In the second example, do I need to widen my compass? No, because now when I construct my arcs from each of these points cut off by my original step, I can now connect that back through point B. Now, if I didn't adjust my compass, is there any need to continue my arcs on? If I continued my arc from here all the way, where is it going to intersect? These two arcs will intersect right at point B. So you don't need to extend them because they're just going to pass through the same original point since we didn't adjust the compass setting at all. If you wanted to draw the whole thing in, that's fine as well. Regardless, you can now connect your intersections, and you have, once again, your perpendicular through the given point, and using just those same steps, again, same constructions that we've already talked about in the previous section. Okay, so those are perpendiculars, or right angles. Okay, are there any questions about that?